Next up is the inaugural champions Rajasthan Royals. Had retained Sanju Samson, Josh
Yeah,
Buttler, and an
yeah.
uncapped player in Yashasvi Jaiswal. I think Yashasvi Jaiswal did pretty well in the second half of the tournament last year, so I think they went with him. Ben Stokes, somebody was not available this season. I think they had to tweak their plans a little bit because Ben Stokes would have been a pretty crucial player for them. Looking at all that, how do you think they went about?
Yeah, very similar to KKR. If you notice, they also have gotten one, two. They have five overseas players for 6 crores. Very, very similar to KKR. They started off very well. I think day one was a superb auction, but day two, they kind of, I feel they went in the back foot and missed out on certain roles, certain depth in their squad. So I think that's where they kind of messed up. Overall, not so convinced about their team. They had a very good start. They have a good bowling attack with Boult, Ashwin, Chahal. Again, batting depth, I'm not too convinced yet. When you have a Jaiswal, I don't know why you need a Padikkal there, but we have to wait and see if they're looking to play Buttler at 4 or if they're going to open at Buttler and play a Padikkal at 3 or at 4 to kind of tackle spin. We don't know. We'll have to check that out. Overall, I think they started well, but they kind of finished not as good. I wouldn't see, you wouldn't go. One of the things I look at it in auction is it's very easy to tell in hindsight that I've got five overseas players for 6 crores, but was that really your plan and were these players really your choices? If that's were the choice, you wouldn't go behind David Miller for 3.4 crores when you had him all these days and you didn't really buy him initially. I felt those were desperate moves. Just getting Neesham and Coulter-Nile, Rassie, Mitchell, etc. at base price all sounds good on paper, but I don't know how far are these people match winners. I don't know. So I think the auction strategy went a bit haywire towards the second half.
From a price point standpoint, like Hetmyer, I felt they went above board, right? Like maybe they could have left some of that money for like an Indian bat.
One of the reasons, Aditya, they had to go, the number of finishers this day and age are very few. The Shah Rukh Khans also got so much money. Rahul Tiwatia got so much money, not because they're really talented. That's obviously there. They're talented, not really because they're like amazing players. But the number of people for those roles are very little. So Hetmyer got that money because people wanted to lap him up, and he has had a pretty good IPL for Delhi. He played that role to perfection. That's why that price point. It's more to do with the role he plays.
What would be your rating for the squad then?
See, from an auction strategy, again, I wouldn't go with the last 5 minutes to go having to pick 4 overseas players when you had so many options. I think they kind of messed it up there, so I would give it a 6.
Now let's do the playing 11.
My personal would be Jaiswal, DDP, Samson, Buttler, Hetmyer, Samson, Buttler, Parag, Hetmyer. Coulter-Nile or Neesham or Rassie or any one of those 4 overseas guys, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. I think they would rather go with a Neesham or Mitchell, and then I'm looking at Ashwin, Chahal, Boult, Prasidh. Again, the problem is you have just 5 proper bowlers, 4 bowlers and 1 all-rounder, and then you have to play Riyan Parag there. Kind of, you're stuck there, right? Otherwise, you're stuck with 5 bowlers, or you have to try one of these Indian guys who you think. So that's why I felt the balance is a bit awkward. Rassie is not a number 7 player, so how will you ever play Rassie unless Buttler doesn't turn up? Rassie walks into that team instead of Buttler. If Hetmyer doesn't turn up, Rassie can play that role. But what about among Coulter-Nile, Neesham, Mitchell, would you pick at number 7 the better bowler or better batter? I don't know. I would pick the better bowler, so I would go with Coulter-Nile. So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out.
Yeah, and then if you pick Coulter-Nile, your tail becomes kind of long. And yeah, that's why they probably went for Parag, but they weren't able to find any other Indian all-rounders, I guess. Or Karun Nair. In an ideal world, you'd want to pay Karun Nair over Parag, but now they're kind of stuck as they need the 6th bowling option.
Spot on.